What do you think of when you hear the name SpongeBob SquarePants? A kid? A goofy goober? A hard worker? Wrong! SpongeBob is nothing more than a complete evil. In this video essay, I will convince you why this heinous sponge is nothing short of a narcissistic, sociopathic, hypocritical, psychopathic manipulator. The episode Fools in April is the perfect example for my case. This episode opens with our villain waking his pet, Gary, up, explaining to him that they're going to move and become peasants, meaning no more food for either of them. This causes Gary to break into hysterics, and we learn that it was in fact Mr. SquarePants' ideal of a practical joke. Despite this being textbook animal abuse, this is only the start of his crime spree. The process of tormenting his pet makes Mr. SquarePants quite thirsty, so he maneuvers to the kitchen and pulls out a large glass of lemonade. He puts them all in little drinks and exclaims, "It's time to drink." However, this was a lie. He never drinks any of them, and promptly pulls out a mirror and says, "April Fools on me." This is textbook narcissistic behavior. Not only does he waste all of the drinks, which, mind you, could have been needed by any poor resident in Bikini Bottom, but having a mirror in your pocket simply to observe yourself at any given moment is disgusting behavior. The next scene opens with our hero, Squidward Tentacles, discovering it's April 1st. This sends him into a panic because he realizes this is Mr. SquarePants' favorite holiday. This panic tells us multiple things. Firstly, this is not the only time Mr. Pants has gone on a tyrannical rampage. Secondly, it tells us Squidward has unresolved traumas from the previous April Fools. Keep this trauma in mind. We'll circle back to it a little later. Knowing what is to come from Mr. SquarePants' sick game, Squidward attempts to call off work. However, on the other line, his boss, Mr. Krabs, informs him a man from the local art museum has arrived and wishes to give him an award for his work. Unsurprisingly, with his history of being a renowned, yet troubled artist, Mr. Tentacles arrived as soon as he could to accept the award. Unsurprisingly, however, this was another prank by SpongeBob. Now, some may blame both Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob for this prank. However, I firmly believe that Mr. Krabs was manipulated by the sponge and had nothing to do with the practical joke against Squidward. In this scene, SpongeBob promises not to prank him for the rest of the day. Keep this in mind. It's very important for later. I'm going to show a brief montage of the wrongs SpongeBob commits against customers of the very establishment he works at. Tricking an elderly lady into picking the wrong utensil. Taking advantage of a man without object permanence.
Hey, where'd that other guy go?
April Fools!
He receives a request for 2 pieces of ice by this customer, yet he only puts 1. In the next scene, our protagonist is shown working as hard as he can. However, the constant giggling and pranks of Mr. Bob disrupt his flow. This makes a mockery of the work environment and is not professional in the slightest. He even makes a joke out of his own tongue. His depravity knows no bounds. Pushed to his final straw, Mr. Squidward devises a plan to get back at SquarePants, a prank of his own. He meticulously plans it in a way that would leave any April Fooler impressed, and unsurprisingly, SpongeBob falls for this trick. The next minute of the episode is extremely cathartic, as the villain finally gets what he deserves. However, near the end of this prank, Squidward realizes perhaps he went too far, and saves SpongeBob from his final fall with a trash can. This shows that even in his rage, Squidward does truly care about those close to him. This next scene nearly put me to tears, as despite the fact that SpongeBob has been tormenting the customers all day, they choose to bash Squidward, even though he did nothing wrong and was simply getting revenge for what SpongeBob had put him through throughout the entire day. In the book Story by author Robert McKee, he states that characters show who they truly are under immense pressure. And in this moment, Squidward is under immense pressure. Our fallen angel is agonizing on what he needs to say to SpongeBob. The comments from the townspeople and his conscience are saying he needs to. And he takes the call to action and decides, yes, I must apologize. This decision proves to me that not only is Squidward a righteous character, but he would do anything for his friends. This episode wraps up with our martyr Squidward apologizing. However, in one final, cruel twist, SpongeBob breaks his promise to never prank Squidward again. Because despite the fact that Squidward poured his heart out in his apology and gave everything he had, SpongeBob doesn't care. He gathered the entire town to listen and humiliate Squidward! They all laugh at him, and as foreshadowed by his previous mental problems in the episode, he completely spirals. We watch Squidward go into a manic episode, and SpongeBob is left smiling, knowing he won. Throughout the entire episode, SpongeBob is manipulating. He manipulates Mr. Krabs into pranking Squidward. He toys with the poor customers, and in the end, I'm sure he even manipulated you, the viewer, into thinking he was right.
And as the